Welcome, everyone, to the very first edition of TOSS, Tristain On Sports Show. I am your host, your friendly neighborhood T-Square, Tristain Thomas. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm going to explain a little bit about what TOSS is. I'm going to explain what I'm doing, who I am, and why I'm here. Some of you might recognize this voice. Somebody might recognize this pleasant disposition of mine. So let me get into the quick story. I am the 2015 Time Warner Cable Sports Channel Talking the Talk champion, a grueling contest, grueling sportscasting contest in which we did some screen tests with 5-time Wisconsin Sportscaster of the Year and Dennis Krause, one of my idols growing up. Watched him on WTMJ down in Milwaukee, where I was born and raised and grew up. Did some screen tests with him for the public to vote on, and the winner was the person with the most votes. It was completely social media driven. They had a Talking the Talk program on the actual channel, the Time Warner Cable Sports channel, and you got to meet us, see our interview, see a little bit of our clip, or a little bit of our screen test, I should say. And but the rest of it was online. It was completely voting for it online. Watch it all the way through, and you couldn't fast forward, and that counted as a vote. So imagine the work that it took to get all of these votes. The absolutely grueling nature of this competition of marketing yourself and getting yourself out there and make sure everyone is remembering the clip, remembering where it is, sending those links out to people, getting the word out everywhere you went. And this is what my life was for 3 weeks, was getting the word out there, voting at work, even when I wasn't supposed to have my phone out at work. I still did it because this is the dream of mine. This is what I always wanted to do. I wanted to be a sports talk, a voice in sports talk that people can trust, that people can feel they can have good interaction with, a good debate with, but at the end of the day, be respected and shake hands and part ways as passionate sports fans. And that's what I want to do here. That's what TOSS is all about. Because when it comes down to it, sometimes you just have to go out and make your own way. Nobody was going to give me a forum. Regardless of how talented people might feel that I am, regardless of how much passion I display, despite how much of a love that I have for sports and for the sports talk business, and how much I just desire to be successful in it, nobody knows Tristain Thomas. That's the reality of it. Nobody knows Tristain Thomas from the grocery bagger at the store. They don't know who the friendly neighborhood T-Squared is. This forum will make people know who I am, will let them know who I am, will show them what I could do. I'm making my own way. And at the end of the day, I hope to build this into something that we all can share. I want all of you guys' interaction. I want to have as much interaction with fellow sports lovers who feel that their voice is being passed over as well. And I hope to build this show into something that is a vehicle for all those people. Not to steal from Paul Heyman. I am a WWE wrestling fan, by the way, a wrestling fan in general. Paul Heyman, one of my absolute favorites. So not to steal a line from him, but I am the voice of the voice of the voicelesses. The voice of the voice of the voiceless. I just want to be able to be that bearer for them and say, hey, there's lots of talented people out there, and hopefully I can give you guys a forum in which we can debate, and I can have you guys on and things like that. But, you got to start small, build up from there. And that's what I want to do with TOSS. I want to make my own way, because this is what I'm determined to do. I tell everyone all the time that sitting around and doing nothing is not going to do anything for you. If you do nothing, expect nothing. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I work tirelessly to hone my craft. I work tirelessly to make sure that I am on top of my game each and every single day, and that I'm learning something and I'm evolving as a informer and as an entertainer and everything else. And despite all that hard work, sometimes it just goes unnoticed. Sometimes you just don't get the same breaks as everyone else. And instead of sitting there and crying about it and boo-hooing about it and throwing a big pity party for yourself, you pick yourself up and say, okay, you said no, you said no, you said no, and you said no. But guess what? I say yes. And I'm going to go and I'm going to make my own way. And I'm going to make my own way. And I'm going to make it so successful to the point that you guys come knocking on my door. And I'm going to remember these times. I'm not going to be rude to you, but I'm going to remember this because this is the fuel to my fire. This is what I'm going to use to fire me up and take me to heights that you guys never thought I'd be able to get to. This is what I'm going to use. So that's essentially what Toss is, man. It is me displaying my love of sports, displaying my love of sports talk, displaying my passion for this business, my love for this business, and having a lot of fun doing it, man. It's my show. I could do whatever the hell I want. So buckle up, strap in. It's going to be one hell of a ride. I am new to this whole field of podcasting, so you guys have to kind of bear with me because there's going to be some things that I can do better, and I understand that, and I'm looking forward to all that feedback as well. Like I said, it's a baby. You know, you start small, and then you grow it into a respectable human being that's out there doing something special for the world. So I want to thank you guys for hanging with me on this very first episode of Toss. And what I want to get into right now is what I call State of the State. This segment is basically a rundown of what's going on with the sports teams in my lovely state of Wisconsin. And we all know that there is one thing in mind for everyone in the state of Wisconsin, pretty much. Packer season is coming. That's right. The Packers start the season off this Sunday against the hated rival Chicago Bears. We're going to talk about that and a lot more coming up next. Welcome back to Toss. I am your friendly neighborhood T-Squared, Tristain Thomas. And let's get into State of the State. We all know that there is one big, huge event that everybody's waiting for coming on Sunday. No, it's not a NASCAR race for most of you out there asking. It is the NFL season kicks off. Yes, I know as I am taping this, the NFL season, quote unquote, started on Thursday. Steelers lost to the Patriots, 28-21. Sorry, spoiler alert for those of you who had it on DVR. Good game if you own Rob Gronkowski in your fantasy leagues like I do. It was a fantastic game in that way. When the Patriots came out, they dominated for the most part, they dominated as everyone thought they would, given all the controversy. And there was more controversy. There was controversy with the headlines not the headlines, but there was controversy with headphones of the Steelers coaching staff with them receiving the Patriots radio broadcast in their headphones. Now, this is usually bait for me, but I do not want to go down that rabbit hole. We all know their history. I'm not even going to touch that right now. It's all about the Packers, so let's get back to State of the State. Jordy Nelson went down early in the preseason. Lots of people saw the sky falling. Not this guy. This guy saw this as, okay, it's definitely a loss. It's a blow. But I don't see anything else that says that this team can't make it and win Super Bowl 50. And how fitting would that be? The team that won the very first Super Bowl wins the 50th Super Bowl. How fitting would that be? That would be fantastic. But let's get back to this roster here. This Jordy Nelson thing, I don't think was a blow. It was not a blow to the Packers' Super Bowl chances. You have the number one offense in the NFL. For the most part, you have all of them coming back. Now it's except one person. So instead of all 11 starters from the number one offense in the NFL last season at 30.4 points per game, you now have 10 of those starters coming back. I still say you have a good, productive offense. Now, don't get me wrong. I am in no way shortchanging Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson is a huge cog. Huge cog. One of the best deep threats in all of the NFL. I still think he doesn't get his due. I think he's highly underrated. But you still have the two-time reigning, defending National Football League most valuable player and number 12, Aaron Rodgers, back there. The guy can make receivers better. And that is what the great ones do. They make people better. They make their teammates better all around them. He is going to continue to do that on the offensive end. I see no real drop-off. Yeah, you're probably not going to lead the league in offense. Okay, that's fine. You may not score 30 points a game, but I still think they're pretty automatic for at least 27 a game. I think they're still going to be top 5, maybe even top 3 offensively in the NFL. I don't think that train stops. You have too great of an offensive line in Mike McCarthy over there. Like I said, two-time reigning, defending National Football League champion, MVP, and Aaron Rodgers back there, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. So I don't see any of that slowing down. I just don't see any of that slowing down whatsoever. I really don't. What I see holding the Green Bay Packers back from winning the Super Bowl or even making it to the Super Bowl are two things: defense and special teams. Defense and special teams. Both of those units, all preseason long, and granted, yes, it is preseason. I get it. But you have to take what you've seen already. What I've seen out of both of those units in preseason worries me. It absolutely, completely worries me. You need to be able to go out there and stop people. You're going to be the equivalent of the St. Louis Rams many years ago when they had the greatest show on turf, one of the most explosive offenses in NFL history, but did not have a defense. So they could go out there and score 38. But if you give up 39, what does it matter? You can have the greatest offense ever, but if you have no one to stop the opposing offense, then what's the point? I just don't want this team defensively to get off to a slow start and put this team in a hole. Now, I don't foresee them losing to the Chicago Bears this Sunday. I don't foresee that whatsoever. In the season opener, you want to wash that bad taste out of your mouth from the NFC Championship game. I don't foresee them going down to these guys whatsoever. Jay Cutler is probably one of the great Packer quarterbacks all the time because he continues to throw to the Packers in alarming fashion. I'll take it, by the way. But your defense has to be able to go out there and stop fools. They need to go out there and stop people. And that's been their problem. Their defense has always gotten off to a slow start. And then they find some way to bring it together. Last year, second half of the season, they were a top 5 defense. Passing defense-wise, they finished 10th in the league. Everybody didn't know that. A lot of people did not know that. They actually had a good passing defensive unit, and I think it actually got better without Tramon Williams now. Demarius Randall, Quentin Rollins, those guys back there, and even the other guy, the new number 36. The name escapes me right now. But all three of those guys have looked good. They have looked good back there. And I think that's been a significant upgrade. Can Sam Shields step up his game? He is one of the fastest corners in the NFL. There is no doubt about that. But you can't continue to play loose, get burned, and make it up with your speed. I think he needs to play with a little bit more technique. If he can do that, That's definitely a step in the right direction. If those rookies back there give us something a la Clinton Dix did last year, I think he was solid last year. I think he's ready to take that next step this year. If he can do that, if those rookies can give us something, that would be a step in the right direction. Can Clay Matthews stay healthy and on the field all season long? Can he go back to being that impact linebacker that everybody has to freak out on where the hell is he? Can Julius Peppers continue to be an impact linebacker like he was last year? I think a lot of people were pleasantly surprised. I personally was not, because he's been a fantastic defensive player his entire career. Very smart. I think the knowledge that he brings to the game is very underrated. He's much more than a pass rushing type of player. And I think he displayed that last season with his versatility, and I think he'll continue to do that. But you need the rest of the defense around them to step up. This defensive line, the main problem is the fact that they don't get any real defensive pressure on the quarterback. It's pathetic. It's pathetic how little pressure on the quarterback that they get. Those guys have to be mean. They have to be nasty. If they can get that little bit of mean, nasty streak in them, I see quarterbacks all over the league going down. All over the league. I'm not saying you need to go out there and be Sack University, but you need to go out there and put some real pressure on quarterbacks, and that's going to make your coverage that much better. When their opposing quarterback is under duress, that makes your coverage that much better. And they're already a pretty decent coverage unit, especially if those rookies give us something. So those guys just needed to get it together. And I think with B.J. Raji being healthy, and I'm hoping this is the case, with him being healthy, being back at that nose tackle position where he was of great importance, a huge impact back in the year they won the Super Bowl, I think the running defense will be completely better. Completely better, especially with inserting Clay Matthews on the inside, here and there. But again, you need to get those linebackers in place too. Can Jake Ryan be an answer in there? Is Sam Barrington all he's worth? All he's been built up to be. I like Barrington. I like what he did when he took over for A.J. Hawk last season. But can Jake Ryan step in? Again, another rookie. Can he be an impact player? A lot of questions on this defense, and they've really got to go out there and prove it now. They need to go out there and prove it. The best defenses Dom Capers has ever had are the ones that are ball-hawking, opportunistic defenses. If guys are in the right positions and they're really progressing, you see a lot of turnovers from this defense. And this is what you saw from them last season. They got a lot of turnovers. And that is the mark of a good Dom Capers defense. The problem is not in the coaching. I would much rather have Dom Capers on my team than be going up against him when he has the proper talent. And I do feel they have the proper talent. It is, can these players really accept that coaching? Can they really adhere to what he's trying to preach to them and take that next step? And can guys remain healthy? I mean, you got guys like Nick Perry, who's missing a ton of time, who was built to be this opposite to Clay Matthews, two rushing linebackers. This is just going to be absolutely fantastic. Nick Perry has really done squat because he hasn't really been there. He's been too injured, and now he's suspended, I believe. For a couple of games, I believe. Unless that might be somebody else that I'm thinking of. But either way, he hasn't been there. He hasn't been there. And when you're not there, this is a draft and develop team. When you're not there to be developed, then you're just not going to be on a part of the team anymore. And if you have had opportunity after opportunity after top opportunity, and you haven't taken to the coaching, you haven't taken that next step, the brain trust of Mike McCarthy and Ted Thompson are going to say, hey, look, this isn't working. We wish you luck, but you got to go. And rightfully so. You have to show improvement, especially on this team who believes in draft and develop. They're not going to go out there and try to win free agency. Thank God. They're not going to go out there and try to be a Daniel Snyder and buy a championship. You see, that doesn't work. If you do the right thing in free agency, get a couple players here and there that you feel will add value to your team, will do something for your team, will be an impact for your team, and you go and you let those guys that you hired do the job that they're hired, which is coach, you'll be in constant contention for world championships, if not win world championships. And that's what the Packers have done. They're in constant contention for world championships. Should have gone to the Super Bowl last season, but we all seen that meltdown. Still hurts to this day. But you need to be there to be developed in a draft and develop team. These guys have got to get it together. And as far as special teams go, they've been atrocious. Led by Ron Zook, Mr. I had Florida students and residents of Florida and fans of Florida football create a website saying fireronzook.com. This guy is something else, man. Everywhere he goes, it seems like people just have that problem with him. And he's had moderate success in college. What he's doing on special teams so far, I don't see it. I don't see what's so special about him on special teams just yet. And that's not to say that there can't be a turnaround. There absolutely can be. There could be a turnaround. Absolutely. But I haven't seen it yet. And usually, preseason is a time that you're learning, you're growing, and you show a little something. And I haven't really seen any big impact type of plays on special teams. I've seen some blunders on special teams. I've seen some bad coverage on special teams. But I haven't seen anything that says, wow, you know what? Special teams can go out there and win a game for us. Big return, something. Ty Montgomery, is supposed to be the solid returner. We haven't really seen what he could do yet. We know what Micah Hyde can do, but he's got other responsibilities as well. Can you put guys in the right position to be impact players on special teams? Can Ron Zook do that? Can they grow into doing that? I'm certainly hoping so. The G-Force is certainly hoping so. But we don't know yet. We haven't seen anything that tells us that. Those are the two big things I think will hold them back if they do not improve. And we've been saying this about the defense since the season after the Super Bowl. The Packers will go out there and outscore everybody. Everyone. But they couldn't stop one damn team. Yeah, you went 15-1 because you outscored everybody. You outscored everyone. And the one team you lost to, Kansas City Chiefs, in the regular season, was a good defensive team. The team you lost to in the playoffs at home, New York Giants, you couldn't stop them either. I think the big thing for me on why that is a problem is because, and I think they're getting a little bit better with this and they're realizing this, but I think the Packers organization was too arrogant in their coaching abilities. What I mean by that is they would draft all of these guys, a lot of defensive linemen, defensive ends, knowing that you're playing a 3-4 system, they would draft all these guys and try and stand them up, make them linebackers. Now, I'm not saying that no one can make that transition. There are players out there who can make that transition from having a hand in the ground, being on the line, being that run stuffer, being that rush end. There are guys who are used to doing that, had success doing that all their life. That's the one position they've always played and got to the pros, and now they have to stand up. There are some guys who can make that transition. Here's the problem. Not everybody can make that transition. And you've been hedging your bets on everybody being able to play every single position that you want them to. And that's just not the case. Not everybody has that ability. despite how good of a coach you are, sometimes your coaching just will not stick. And sometimes the guys just do not have that talent to be able to go out and play every single position that you expect them to play. So they would draft all these guys up for defense and put them out of position. And your defense has suffered because of that. For years, your defense has suffered because of that. It's amazing how in 1 year you went from allowing 15.6 points per game when you won the Super Bowl, which was second in all of the NFL, to being the worst defense in the entire NFL in 1 year. And every year after that, you've been consistently middle of the road or almost towards the bottom. You need to do better than that. You need to do better than that. And you can do better than that. You have one of the great defensive minds up there in that booth in Dom Capers. You need to get this man the proper personnel so he could put them in the proper spots where they can make impact plays and see how much better your defense gets. And I think they're starting to adhere to that now. You saw it with them moving B.J. Raji back to nose tackle where he was an impact player. You got guys back there who are drafted strictly for corner. Again, Demarius Randall, Quentin Rollins. Those guys are corners. They're going to be playing a lot of that. Corners and safety. So I think they're getting a lot better with that and realizing that. And I think you're going to start seeing the benefits of that. I hope sooner rather than later. Because you got a tough one in the Seahawks in your home opener in the second week, which I will be attending in Las Vegas. I'll be out. That will be my first football game in Las Vegas, believe it or not. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm probably going to live tweet that and give you guys my Twitter later. But you have to get your defense geared up. You have a championship caliber offense. Year in, year out, you're top 5. It's time to bring that defense up. You were 10th in the league in passing defense last season. I believe they were 15th or 16th overall defensively, which is a step up from where they have been. But I still think there is more room for improvement, and I think that they have the talent there and the coaching there to be able to take that next step to maybe even possibly get close to a top 10 defense. If you could do that, this is a Super Bowl team through and through. If your special teams doesn't squander it. Because God knows they've been awful. They have been absolutely atrocious. Let's be quite clear on that. But the season hasn't started, and maybe there's going to be improvement. It's a lot of football to be played, and I'm definitely hoping and praying that there is more room for improvement and that there is improvement. Because if their special teams and their defense doesn't get on the same page as this offense, as a Packer fan, I think we're going to be in for a long season. Welcome back to Toss. It's your friendly neighborhood T-Square, Tristain On, back on the show. And I want to get into a little bit of a rewind here. Last Saturday, the Badgers faced the Alabama Crimson Tide, and they definitely got rolled the hell over. What a disappointment of a game, huh? Prime time, college football is back. Everybody's looking forward to it. And a lot of people felt that Wisconsin could quite possibly be in this game. And for the most part, they were in the first half. You get to that second half, that's when they got their face mask smashed in. But I digress. My problem isn't so much with the game because as many people felt that Wisconsin could quite possibly make this a game, and they did, again, in the first half, there were more people who knew that the outcome would, in fact, be what the outcome was. Alabama rolling Tide all over Wisconsin Tide. My problem isn't with the end result, even though I don't like the final score of the game. I wish they would have won that, a la the LSU game last season, where they decided not to run Melvin Gordon because of some mysterious injury. But I digress. My problem is with Paul Chris's comments after that game. Now, I'm paraphrasing when I say this, but he said something to the effect of just being there and having that experience is enough. Just being there, having that experience is enough. This irks me on so many different levels. This irks me like no other. And let me tell you why this irks me. Because of the fact that you're the coach of a football team that goes out and plays football games. And games are meant to be won. So your job is to coach these guys to win. But you're preaching to your team that the experience is just enough. Are you kidding me? You got to be kidding me with these comments. Look, I'm all for telling those kids, look, enjoy this. Enjoy this moment. You guys are ranked. The team you're going up against is ranked. They're decorated. Nick Saban, one of the all-time great college football coaches. Lots of rings, lots of bling, lots of jewelry. This team has a chance to add more to their collection. But you know what? We need to go and beat their faces in. Because we're here. We have our own national championship aspirations. We have our own goals for the season. We know where we would like to end up. We know what we would like to do. This game is ours to win. It's ours to win. Is that not why we're here? Didn't Herm Edwards say, hello, you played to win the game? Lord knows ESPN plays it multiple times a season. Lord knows many of coaches out there probably use it every season. Hell, I just used it. Because it's the absolute truth. You play to win the game. If not, what the hell are you there for? Why are you there? Don't sit there and preach that just the experience of being in Jerry World is enough. Because it's not. That's not enough. To experience is just enough. That's just as bad as all these award shows that you see where people say, oh, just being nominated is an honor. You know good and damn well you wanted to go there and hope to hear your name called as the winner. But see, I'm a little bit more apt to believe the actors that go out there and get nominated for an Academy Award and they say that just being nominated is an honor, because it is. Because if you get known as an Academy Award nominee, people put more faith and trust in your performance. Like, hey, this person's in this movie. They got nominated for an Academy Award. Okay, I trust them. I'll go check it out. At least I do. It's putting faith and trust in them. Change your life. But you know what would change their life even more? If in a movie trailer they're announced as Academy Award winner. Do you know what a win against Alabama would have done? In your first game as Wisconsin head coach, you went out there and you beat the faces of the Crimson Tide in. Smashed their face mask in. Beat them. Doesn't matter if it was by half a point, 1 point, 3 points, 20 points. You beat Alabama. Mighty Alabama. Do you know what that would have done for your stature? Do you know what that would have done for the kids in that locker room? The confidence it would have brought to them, the hunger, the passion that would have been reignited and fueled even further. But you didn't win the game. You didn't win the game. And then you made comments like that after the game, which makes me believe that you made comments to them like that before the game. Those comments were the equivalent of a participation trophy. It was the equivalent of him going in and waving a white flag before the game even started. Like, hey, guys, this is Alabama. You've seen what they can do. We don't stand a chance. just enjoy looking at this stadium. Enjoy the largeness of this moment. How big this game is. Not because we're going to win it, but look how big it is. We're on prime time. We're on ABC prime time. Against a fantastic SEC school. Multi-time national champions. The experience is just enough. Well, Mr. Christ, I have to say this to you. If you feel that the experience is just enough, and that's what you're preaching to your kids, then I guess when you finish up mediocre season after mediocre season after mediocre season as head of the Wisconsin Badgers, and if they so decide to go their separate ways away from you, I guess the experience would have just been enough. This is Toss. Welcome back to Toss, everybody. This is your friendly neighborhood T Squared, keeping it going with a couple of subjects that are kind of been a thorn in my side a bit. And not so much a thorn in my side, but it's something that's been on my mind and I just have to get off my chest. And I've had no forum to get it off my chest, but now I do because I created one. So hopefully you guys can bear with me while I talk about this. This segment I usually call Toss Sweep. Basically, it's my forum to talk about all the other teams in every single league. My focus is mainly on Wisconsin sports, but you know what? I am well versed in every single major league, so I talk about them too. Everybody gets it, equal opportunist. But what I want to do is I want to keep the focus on Wisconsin teams and really the Wisconsin nature of sports. I don't know when it became, and here's the thing. The only team in all of Wisconsin to have this down as being winners, as being constant contenders to be champions, are the Green Bay Packers. So when I talk about this, they are completely omitted from this occasion. Completely omitted from this equation. Completely. I don't know when it became a realm of mediocrity. Now, for those of you out there listening, some of you hopefully may not be from Wisconsin. And not saying that in a bad sense, just saying that it means you guys are checking me out, and I definitely appreciate the love. And some of you may be from Wisconsin, and you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those who are listening that don't know what I'm talking about, because you're not from Wisconsin, you don't understand the attitude that kind of goes along with this, let me explain it. Or maybe you already see it. It's somewhere along the line, mediocrity became okay. Somewhere along the lines in the state of Wisconsin and the owners' minds and in sports in general, mediocrity became the norm. Again, with the exception of the Green Bay Packers, 13-time world champions. The Bucks, mediocre. Brewers, mediocre. I don't know when it became that mediocrity was okay. Now, you've had some recent ownership changes where that's beginning to change. You've seen the Milwaukee Bucks new owners come in. And God bless Herb Cole. His legacy will forever be keeping basketball in the state of Wisconsin. And I say the state because I truly believe that the Bucks are Wisconsin's team. They haven't been marketing it that way. That's changing. But I truly feel that it is Wisconsin's team. So his legacy will forever be keeping NBA basketball in the state of Wisconsin on 2 different occasions. He didn't have to give $100 million towards the new arena that's going to be built for the Milwaukee Bucks and really just the city of Milwaukee, state of Wisconsin. He didn't have to do that, but he did. He didn't have to give all of his former employees $500 bonuses on his way out the door as no longer being the manager. He had no longer being the owner. He didn't have to do that, but he did that. His legacy will forever be keeping basketball in the state of Wisconsin. you will never confuse Herb Cole as being a winning owner. There has been far too much mediocrity. And you hear stories and reports about, hey, he had his finger he pretty much had his foot on the necks of every single GM he's had, saying, hey, you need to make the playoffs at any and all cost. You need to at least get the 8th seed. I don't know an owner in their right mind that feels that the 8th seed is okay. Ooh, you get 2 extra playoff games. 2 games worth of extra revenue. Is that good business? Sure. Anytime you're able to make money and make a return on your investment, sure, it's good business. But in the long run, is it really smart business? No. Because you're overpaying players who know they should be making that type of money because they know they're garbage, mediocre players. Yeah, you were fantastic in a reserve role, but now you're in a starting role getting superstar money on a team that you know you would never come to had they not even flashed that type of money. But you took advantage of the situation. Hey, I'm all for people getting paid. All for it. But what you saw with the Milwaukee Bucks for the longest amount of time were them overpaying for players who did not deserve that type of money and did not even play up to their expectations, did not play up to that contract money, which makes for mediocre losing teams. Teams that make the 8th spot, under 500, only to be swept in the first round of the playoffs. I know I'm not alone when I say this, and I know I'm not alone when I say this, but enough is enough. The Milwaukee Brewers, for the longest time, mired in mediocrity, and that's putting it nicely. Mark Antanasio comes in, injects life into the team, raises the payroll. They made a couple of good runs. Won a wild card, won a division. But that's only 2 seasons in which they were even relevant. Now, I'm not bashing Mark Antanasio. I like the guy. I like him a lot. He's a guy that wants to win. And he's another one of those win now kind of guys. Well, you see what happens, we have the win now mentality. It just doesn't work. Doesn't always work. Somewhere you have to have patience. And I think he's realizing that. They're in a complete rebuild now. They're searching for a new GM, and he wants somebody with forward thinking. Somebody that's into the analytics, the sabermetrics, a little younger, because even the outgoing GM, Doug Melvin, even said, hey, time changes, the game changes. It's time for some new blood in here. I'm going to step aside. I'm going to help as much as I possibly can. But I'm going to step aside. It's time to usher in a new era. And kudos to Mark Antanasio for really understanding and knowing that, hey, analytics work. Sabermetrics work. Having a younger, fresher mind works. It's what's going on in major leagues. It's just a sign of the times. And he's getting down, he's getting after it, and he's really taking his time trying to find a new GM that has that forward thinking, that has that knowledge of analytics and sabermetrics. Someone that's going to get along with Craig Counsell, who I also think is a forward-thinking manager. And I like him a ton. You could see the demeanor change in the Brewers when he took over. Yeah, they're still under 500. Yeah, they're having a bad season. But believe me when I tell you this, it is nowhere near as bad as it could have been had they had Ron Renicky all season. Which is another thing that makes me mad. After that collapse at the end of last season, where you not only lose the division, but you lose your way out of 2 wild card spots, you need to go. You need to go. You didn't even deserve to come back for another season. And roster changes should have been made. So you could have given yourself a shot this season at anything decent. You could very well be talking about the Brewers being in the hunt for that first or second wild card spot, because we know they wouldn't catch the Cardinals. Those guys are absolutely world beaters this year. Somehow, some way, Cardinals always find a way. But you could have been in a position to get a wild card spot, having people be interested in the Brewers, even while football season is getting ready to gear up. That should be what you want. Having the public's interest. I love the Brewers. I love my Bucks. I love my Badgers. I love my Packers. I love all of my home state teams. But what I don't love is mediocrity. What I don't love are hires like Larry Drew. That's not a good hire. I'm on the record as saying that was either going to be very bad or very mediocre. It turned out being the worst season in Bucs history with 15 wins. Fast forward a year, you go 41-41. Yeah, it's 500 record. It's 500. But you're coming from 15 wins the previous season. And to get 41 wins with all those young Bucks, that's impressive. How Jason Kidd didn't get Coach of the Year honors, I will never know. It's supposed to be Coach of the Year. Not taking over Mark Jackson's team that would have done this anyway. Person of the Year. But I digress. My point in saying all this is the fact that I am sick and tired of mediocrity, and I, for one, am not going to take it anymore. And I think that we're finally in a realm in the state of Wisconsin with sports that we have owners in place that realize that. What a concept, right? Get proper people in the right spots and build it the right way. I love having winning teams. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that loves having winning teams. But I want consistent winning teams. Not these 1 year flash in the pan, win now type of projects that you think is just going to make everybody happy and make it forget about all the mediocrity that you've been shoveling down our throats for years in the past. I think I'm sick of it. I think the fan base is sick of it, no matter where they are, whether they're in the state of Wisconsin, whether they live elsewhere, no matter where they are in the world. People are sick and tired of mediocrity. They want consistency. They want consistent winning, not consistent mediocrity. But I'm looking at the bright side of things. Like I said, there's new ownership with the Bucks. The new branding is looking fantastic. Love the new logos. The team product that they put out on the floor last year was phenomenal. Elite defensively. Room to grow offensively. Room to grow all over the place. Jason Kidd is the right person for that. So well respected around the league. Yeah, the way he was hired was a little bit suspect. But we're past that because he coached his ass off. And those players played their heart out for him. Pushed the Bulls to 6 in the first round of the playoffs, which a lot of people didn't think would happen. But when you got that type of a good defense, it's going to happen. They had a little bit more offense, probably would have pushed it 7. Who knows? I mean, in the 7th game, anything can happen, regardless if it's in Milwaukee or Chicago. And Mark Antanasio is getting a younger GM in place that's dealing with something that is proven to work around the major leagues, which is analytics. They're on the right path. I would say Paul Chris is on the right path, but after those comments after that game, with the experience of being in the arena, it being just enough, he still got some growing to do. Wasn't like he was blowing the barn doors off at Pitt when he was there anyway. But I still got faith in him. I still got faith in him. I think he'll get it together. But my point is, you can't be mediocre anymore. People are going to put up with it. We love you guys. We love the teams. We love all the personalities. But we want winners. What did Mike Singletary say? I want winners. I'm right there with you, Samurai Mike. I want winners too. And I think that Wisconsin sports, as far as the Bucks and the Brewers, hell, the Packers have always been there. They've had their downs, but they had a lot more ups. 13 world championships will do that for you. But I think the state of Wisconsin sports is on the upswing. And I think we're going to see a lot more consistent winning teams moving forward than I have all of my 33 years of life. And I guess that's a lot more than most places can say. So I have a rosy disposition on it. We'll see how things play out in the future. Because maybe I'll be doing a broadcast and I'll just go absolutely balls to the wall, flying off the handle of those guys for being so idiotic. Or maybe we could sit here and toast world championships in every single sport. It's possible. But I like where Wisconsin sports is headed. No more mediocrity. I'm not going to put up with it. This fan base is not going to put up with it. And I think the owners in place understand that that's not how you do good business. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Toss, everybody. And it's about that time that I get up out of here. But before I do, I want to thank you guys from the depths of my soul for tuning in and checking me out on this very first podcast of mine of Toss. And like I said, I want this to be a forum that grows. I want you guys' opinions. I want you guys' comments. Hoping to have some people on the show. But again, this is in its infancy. It's growing. I'm hoping for it to get bigger and better and bigger and even more better, because that is the determination I have within myself, is to always get better, always learn, always grow, always get better. And that's what I hope for Toss. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to grow into something, and hopefully you guys continue to hang with me and support. And I definitely support you. Thank you for supporting me on this very first broadcast. I'm looking forward to doing it again each and every single week. I don't have websites for it just yet. I don't have the Twitter handles for it just yet, or any Facebook pages or things like that. Working on some other projects as well. So, all that is going to come. As soon as it does, I'll let you guys know for sure. But for right now, if you guys want to even debate some things, talk about the show, you can get at me. My personal Twitter handle is at the20double. That is at the20double. My personal Twitter handle. I'm on Twitter quite a bit. I'm always live tweeting some games. I'm always got some type of comments about something that's on there. Don't spend my entire day on it, but I do. I am on there every single day. Love Twitter. It's surprisingly a very good news source as well, unless you talk about Brewer trades, because sometimes those come a little bit too soon. You jump the gun on those. But I digress. That's where you can get at me again, at the20double on Twitter, at the20double on Twitter, to talk about Toss and any other subjects that you guys want to get down with. Ask me questions. I'll get them on the show. I'll answer them as best I can. And like I said, the show is going to continue to grow, continue to get better. I'm going to continue to learn, and I just want to be here to be that trusted voice for you guys as far as sports, commentary, and any other matter that you guys might have in your mind. I'm a wrestling fan as well, boxing fan, MMA fan. So it's not just limited to the big three sports. So get at me on Twitter. But, like I said, it's time for me to get on up out of here. This is your friendly neighborhood T-Squared, Tristain Thomas, reminding all of you that dreams don't catch themselves. Get up, get out, get after it. This is Tristain Thomas. Until next week, so long from Toss.